Hey guys, welcome back to Parlay Revival. I'll try to keep this quick. I've got two really exciting news announcements. The first one is that in 2 weeks time we're going to be doing the draw for our Patreons to come on a 5-day sail with us in Bocas del Toro in Panama. So the dates are going to be from the 20th of January for 5 days, and we're going to draw 3 Patreons on the Excel spreadsheet. Depending on how much people have pledged is how many draws that go into the sort of raffle, and we'll be taking 3 Patreons with their partners along. So that's coming up in 2 episodes time. We'll do the announcement for that. If you'd like to have a chance to be in the draw, it's not too late to become a Patreon and try win that 5-day free sail with us. The other one is that if you don't follow us on Facebook or Instagram, our website is now live and we have all sorts of merchandise for sale. There's a little bit about us, a little bit about the boat. So if you haven't checked it out, when you want one of these shirts or one of these hats, go to www.parlayrevival.com. All right, let's roll the episode.
With Hurricane Irma boats tossed. Here we are at this marina.
Hi, my name's Colin. I used to be a chief engineer on super yachts, but gave it all up to buy a hurricane-damaged Lagoon 450. My friends and I are fixing it up as we go, and are determined to circumnavigate the entire planet. So subscribe if you want some inspiration to live life to the fullest. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the things you did. So what are you waiting for?
So the dogs have gotten really bad lately with eating things. They ate the salon table, the corner of it. They've eaten cushions. They ate my wallet. And one guy was saying, you gotta get them these big bone marrows from the butcher. He said every time we leave the boat, give them a bone. That'll keep them busy and happy. See if this is gonna work or not. Fly, sit down. Sit down. Marty, sit down. Stay. Stay. Look at the fly's mouth. Marty, sit down. Have you been a good boy? Marty, sit down. Sit down. Fly, here's your bone. Fly, here's your bone. Marty, no. Marty, no. Marty, no, this is yours. Marty, here. Fly, here. Jeez. Good boys. They don't know what to do. They take each other's. We're going to the pub. We're going to film the dogs and see if they get up to any mischief.
The bone trick seemed to have worked, and the dogs couldn't care less about chewing my belongings. But for how long?
I don't know if this happened during the hurricane or before the hurricane even, but there's a big hole in the rudder on the top end of it. And just to get through to here, I filled it with underwater epoxy. But to do the repair properly, I want to drop the rudder, and just so I can get glass around the top side and everything like that. So I've just been trying to undo like the top of the rudder stock, and it's got 4 Allen bolts holding this the stock onto the rudder shaft, and I've got 2 out of 4 of the bolts moving, but I don't want to snap the head off the bolt or anything like that, because then I'm in deep trouble. So I'll keep trying.
The reason the bolts were so hard to get out is because they're stainless and had completely corroded the aluminium around them due to them being dissimilar metals.
And that is exactly what happened. I'm going to take the tie bar and the autopilot ram off. Here it comes. Oh, it's like 1,000,000 degrees. Shit. So you've got this pin that goes through the entire rudder stock and slots into there. It's good, that means it's always centered, so you don't have to mess around with that. Pretty sure I'll be able to knock that pin through and the rudder will fall down. There it goes. Rudder's sitting on the screwdriver now. There we go. Rudder has been dropped. Okay, I don't know if you can see that well or not, but that's how much play there is in this bottom bearing. It actually looks like just a copper shit. We can let it down, brother. It's just a copper shim. I guess I can just order another one from Lagoon, or maybe get one made. This piece here is it's just worn out. Shim this bearing, get something made to fit in there, take the play out of it. If I can't get this part delivered here to Guatemala, we can just do it another time, because you can drop these rudders in the water.
Pretty cool. Yeah,
it was a funny little story the other day. Was it yesterday? The day before?
The day before.
There's a boat that arrived here. It's an old boat. They put it up on the yard, and they didn't know that the inside of the mast was full of these African bees. And they went to go use the halyard, which goes inside the mast, and it disturbed all the bees, and then all the bees came flying out into the yard. We all had to evacuate the yard. Pretty much everyone got stung except me and Jamie. African bees. Not very pleasant. So during the hurricane, or at some point in the boat's life, our main salon entrance door has jumped off its rail and is on the edge of it, and there's no way to get it back onto its rail without doing this. So we'll see now if we've got enough space to get the door back on its rail. It's fine, I thought. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Yes. It's good. Back in business. All right. So the boys are just tidying up some of the lines on the boat, and they've just found a snake on the boat in one of our lines. Welcome to Guatemala. How did it get on?
I don't know.
They must be coming up the dog ramp. You're from Australia, aren't you?
Yeah, but I'm not Croc Dundee.
Alright, now just grab it. Now what?
I don't know, I'm fucking petrified of snakes.
I can tell. It's not moving much. So here he is. So we kind of got up the ladder or something, and then he got up the stairs into the ropes. Can't believe it. And we got 2 dogs, man. That's not cool. So we're gonna put them in the jungle over here, I think. Probably stand on another snake walking out here.
Sorry guys, I'm not getting too close, I'm shitting myself.
I'm just gonna throw him.
Yeah.
What if he spins around in mid-air and...
We'll just give him one quick one there.
There we go, he's free. How's that?
Oh. So as we were coming into Rio Dulce, we noticed that ticking noise with the sail drive. So it's time to check that out. We're up on the hard now, so we're going to start the engine. I'm just going to confirm that I can hear the noise. The noise is happening in neutral, which is kind of puzzling, so I'm going to have to take the whole thing apart. So we're going to start it up on a hard. Jamie's going to start the engine and stop and be on standby. Matt's going to put water into the strainer so that the engine gets cooling, and I'm going to listen out for the noise. Okay, Jamie! Yep. Make sure it's in neutral! Yep. Okay, so we just went to start the engine and it won't start. 12.66, that's good. Just found this is a little bit loose here. Could be part of the problem. Nope. Alright guys, big amateur mistake here. This was the side of the boat that was sunk underwater after the hurricane, so I replaced these isolation switches.
and they're slightly different to the ones that were in there. So I just forgot that the label here which says on vertical and off horizontal no longer applies to these new switches, so it's actually the opposite. So I just had the switches turned off. Hopefully she starts now. Fire it up! Okay, we got cooling. So the sail drive is still making that noise. I'm not 100% sure if it's actually inside the sail drive or it's something at the flywheel end of the engine. It's just making a tick 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 noise. Okay guys, here it is. This is the Yanmar SD50 sail drive. I'm getting a ticking noise from inside here or possibly over here, but the first thing I'm going to check is inside the actual sail drive unit itself. So what I have to do is take the gear lever assembly out, and then I have to back these 4 nuts off and push the pinion out of the gearbox, and then I should be able to pull this whole gearbox assembly out. Oh shit. Okay. See that starting to move? Beautiful. Okay, that's all the way back. Okay. Come out. There we go. What we have is these spinning like this constantly, even when the engine is in neutral. And then when you want forward, it just selects up or down. I'm not sure which way, haven't thought about it properly yet. There's a beautiful sailboat down here, down on the water at the docks. Apparently it's some sort of tradition for them to let off this cannon that they have every now and then. So they've invited us down to go have a look, so we'll see what this is all about. What have you got there?
That's the plunger for the cannon. That's black powder in a tea bag.
Yeah.
And that's a rope to stop the cannon flying backwards because it's got a kick.
Yeah. How often do you do this?
As often as we get the opportunity.
Yeah. And why today? What's the occasion?
Because the guys wanted to see it. But if we go in a schooner regatta, most schooners have got cannons.
Yeah.
So if we go in a schooner race or a regatta, everybody's firing the cannons all the time.
Yeah,
Any
right.
excuse.
If I fall, I won't let go of it. More valuable than I am. I don't know, who do we not like?
This was the cannon off Blue Nose. You know the schooner Blue Nose?
No.
She's on the Canadian coin on the piece. She's a national monument. Yeah, okay, that's good. So now put that down there and stuff that down.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
So, the one and only Noodles is leaving tonight. He thought he booked his flight for Tuesday, and he just double checked his flights, and his flight's actually tomorrow morning, so we got to get him on a taxi. I just got him a taxi from here to leave, so we're going to do a final shot of Canadian whiskey with him and send him on his way. Very sad to see such a solid guy leave us. Be yourself, you're a fucking legend. There you go.
Cheers. Cheers.
Noodles. Noodles.
The reason this was such an emotional goodbye for us was that only Noodles, Jamie and I will ever truly know what we had to go through to get the boat to this point, which created a brotherhood like no other. And throughout this time, Noodles was a major reason why we maintained a smile on our faces. Everyone who'd gotten to know him was touched by his sensitive, thoughtful nature. It is not often someone like this comes into your life, and we were truly going to miss having him around.
I'm definitely different. I learn a lot from this guy. I think I'm going to learn a lot from him still. But fuck. You guys are the best friends I've ever had. It goes both ways, brother. Yeah. Too fucking hard to leave. Probably about 3-4 months ago came to Parlay. Met Colin, Jamie and the crew, and I haven't had a better experience in my whole life. But I'll definitely be back.
Last night, Noodles left us. He got a job on a super yacht and he had to fly back ASAP so that he could join the boat after they bunker fuel in New Zealand and head over to Fiji. He's 22 years old. He just worked his ass off. He never complained. He just was a phenomenal crew member. We all wanted to see him off. There wasn't a dry eye on the boat, and this was probably 8 to 10 guys all trying to see him off, and we were all sitting here sobbing. I don't know when the last time I cried was, but man, he's just such a good kid, and we've seen him grow so much in the last 3.5 months. It's just been really special to be a part of that. 22 years old, he's just so wise. He comes across as a bit of a goofball, but man, when you break down the layers and you get to really know him, he's just such a deep, kind-hearted soul, and it's just been an absolute pleasure to have him around. So again, Parlay just seems to attract the most incredible people, and we're just so lucky to have them come into our lives and make lifelong friends, I think. As if saying bye to Noodles wasn't hard enough, it was also Jeremy's turn to leave that night. Not only is he a Patreon, but he also selflessly flew into the Guatemalan jungle with a suitcase full of gifts and motivated and encouraged us to pursue our dreams and helped us believe in ourselves and our potential to inspire others. Everyone earns a nickname on Parlay, and Jeremy soon became Nails, as he was as tough as nails. We worked hard, but also had some great times that I'm sure he and all of us will never forget.
3, 2, 1, go! Oh yes!
Turn! You have this.
Elena!